Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 22nd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
G'day.
You're going to have a lot of reasons to hate on Disney and news chat, I think. That's
Yeah.
going to be fun. and JC, a.k.a. Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Hello.
Nice to have you with me today, guys, for Cinema Effect, episode 22. I can't believe we're coming up on 25. Or on 24 or 24, 25. That means half a year of this crap. That's nuts.
26
I don't
is
know
actually
what
half
this
a
year
year.
is, but it is too. Wow, I can't count. Wow. I had mentally decided that 24 is half of 52. That's what happens when you leave school. Amazing. Well, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single week. The show posts every Monday, 8 p.m. Australian time on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So listen to us wherever you can. We appreciate you doing that. And make sure, I've got to mention this, I wrote it down last week, follow the Instagram page. Fitzy curates that. He does a great job. Go and check it out.
Some
It's got a
good
much
polls.
bigger following than the YouTube channel. What was that?
Some good polls.
Some good polls, yes. We had a great poll last night, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Get in on the X-Men poll. I don't know if it's still up, but get in on it. Get in all the other polls, all the good content over there. And remember to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comments section. We've got our specific question of next week's show ahead of time. We're going to be asking you, what was the first film you ever saw in a theatre? I'm going to have to think real hard about this. Probably ask some family members.
Or
I
the
don't
film
know
that
if
you
I know the
remember
answer.
first. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, exactly. So let us know. I think this will expose some of our ages, to say the least. This week we're talking about The Hateful Eight. Let's get into the data dump and get into the conversation. The Hateful Eight opened in the US and this is the first time, I think, from memory, that I've ever actually stuffed up and not put in the date, as I've just realised this very second. But if memory serves, it was the 20th of December 2015. If it's not the 20th, it was very close to that, so I apologise. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It only took long enough for us to get to a Tarantino film on this show, but we're doing it now. The cinematography was done by Robert Richardson, who I mentioned because he is a long-time Tarantino and Scorsese collaborator. The music was composed by Ennio Morricone, who, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, unfortunately passed recently. But today we're going to talk about, I'm sure, a major part of this movie is terrific music. The film stars Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Walton Goggins are the main four that I've got here. The film won Best Original Score at the 2016 Academy Awards, which was the first Oscar that Morricone ever won. The film had a budget of $44 million, worldwide box office of $156 million. Its genre it's a mystery, I guess, a crime mystery maybe, whatever you want to call it. Is it it's not considered a Western, is it? Because it really can only be thought of as that in terms of its setting, but nothing else.
No, I'd still call it a Western, though. Like, crime, mystery, thriller, Western, It kind of comes at the end to round it all out.
And right. And I guess every other Western's only ever called a Western because of its setting. The film has a runtime of 2 hours and 48 minutes. And we got the synopsis. In the dead of a Wyoming winter, a bounty hunter and his prisoner find shelter in a cabin currently inhabited by a collection of nefarious characters. That describes the movie setup pretty well, I think. Because, Lord, we spent a lot of time in that cabin, that's for sure. Guys, I've seen this movie before. Loved it the first time. How did you guys feel about it watching it the first time?
Yeah, I really liked it. The massive influences from The Thing and Reservoir Dogs, and it's got the, usual Tarantino traits, I guess, great, like distinct characters and the dialogue and stuff, so yeah, it was really, really good.
Does Fitzy sound weird again to you, Jaden?
Yeah, he
just to make
does.
sure?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a difference in your environment or setting at all, Fitzy? Or
Are you in the cupboard? It's a 3-meter cupboard.
yeah. All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll keep going. But what about you, Jaden?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. As I expressed last night, just when we were chatting, I think it's so long. It's so bloody long. And I mean,
It
like,
really is, yeah.
2 hours 47. I mean, like, I have watched longer, but I mean, like, for some reason in this film, it just seemed so much longer. But no, I thought it was pretty.
Right.
I thought it was pretty decent. Pretty good.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's no denying this movie's long, obviously, just read the runtime. But and yeah, it has its slower moments for me too. But I don't know, something about it. The length kind of works for me though. Like compared to, I know you guys love the Good, Bad, and the Ugly more than me. Like that movie, the length and the runtime bothered me there a bit. It doesn't bother me as much here though, which is interesting. Obviously, it bothered you more. Huh. I wonder why. But no, I really really like this movie. I love it. I kind of maybe the reason that I don't mind the length as much is the way in which it follows. It has this chapter structure. Um, And as a result, I kind of find it easy just to get invested in the film and to this, structure and long form kind of storytelling that it's going for, because there's a lot of just downtime with nothing happening except just really long character exchanges. Um, and I don't know, I just kind of, because that's clearly what it is, I just find it really easy to buy into because it's so kind of distinct, I think, as opposed to just a typical genre film that is just really long. It does feel quite unique. So I don't know. I kind of that doesn't bother me as much as I think it normally would. Although I do agree, yeah, it definitely has its slower moments. There's definitely a lot of setup that kind of leads to towards the end there, which is great. But yeah, no, I really like the movie a lot. But was the length a factor for you, Fitzy? Is it something that bothered you at all?
Yeah, I never like, felt the length. Um, I was never like, it never bored me because of the length, but um, yeah, I don't know if the reveal warrants that kind of length. I think you could have the same kind of thing or effect with 20 minutes shortened, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I get that. Is the reveal in your mind kind of, is it Channing Tatum?
Yeah, well, just the whole thing that, the three of them or the four of them are like a part of the gang and stuff, and
Yeah,
she's
right,
a part of
right.
the gang. I mean, it's a good reveal, but it's not like, I don't know if it's like mind shattering enough to like warrant the massive runtime. Um,
Sure.
and like in the good, the bad, and the ugly, like personally, I felt that like that extra attention to the characters and the situations kind of, built so like brilliantly to the last graveyard um, battle or duel or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel there was like a similar, moment of like absolutely like unbearable tension in this. I mean, there was a lot of situations that held their own suspense, but there was no like singular moment that I felt it was all building to.
Right, right. I see that. I see that. Um, where did you feel then that for both of you that like it drags the most in that sense? Is it chapter 3, which is where they all arrive at the cabin? Because I feel like that for me is also where I start, you know, phasing out a little bit. Where I feel like I'm getting a lot of the same information repeated to me. These characters introducing themselves to other characters, even though we already know all about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't place the blame entirely on chapter three. I just think that with most of Tarantino's films, you can cut, a minute or two from here and there, and it'll be the exact same. I mean, like one of the most glaring offenses is at the start of chapter four. I think it is when like they're showing the exact same journey that was shown at the start of the film, but it was all like the WU gang, whatever
Right.
as they're going up there. Like it's unnecessary to show us, to show them passing through the same river and the same cross and all that shit, when we know exactly where they're going, how they got there, and the situation as to what they got there. And I mean, like it's not like along that journey they introduce anything. It's because it's only once they arrive at the cabin, they do. So it's things like that where you can just cut a minute from that, and just like shit like that, like throughout the film that would aid its runtime.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about this, honestly, because I totally get what you're saying, and I kind of felt that what you're saying that specific complaint more actually like in the last bit of chapter 4 as opposed to the start of it, when like we get the exact same perspective, the part we already got of Kurt Russell arriving at the cabin, but we just hear it from inside, and that's literally it. They're all just kind of just sitting there like waiting for the dialogue to play out outside to the point where they open the door again. That took like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yes, yeah,
That was
like that's
funny.
another
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
it bothered me more there just because like this is literally exactly the same as what we heard before, except now we're just watching these people inside just kind of sit around, wait around for, that was weird. The journey didn't bother me as much though, just because I don't know. I find the shot of the crucifix, I guess, of I don't even know what that it was. That's not an actual body hung up there. It's like a statue, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is, yeah. I just found that kind of really captivating. I really like it. So that much seeing that again, I was like, oh, that's a cool like tie back. I like that. But yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of buy into the chapter structure where I feel like I'm kind of watching a book play out in a weird way. So it kind of, I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much here. I don't know if I can really adequately explain why, other than the structure feels so different that I kind of treat it differently. I don't know. Do you guys think this movie has a unique vibe? I personally don't think I've seen anything like this movie, but you guys obviously seen more movies than me. Does this remind you of anything in particular? Because Tarantino had his influences, but I haven't seen a movie like this really, I don't think.
Do you mean in terms of like the primarily like the one setting type thing, or do you mean like the chapter structure, like
I
what do
think
you?
all of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All that. Absolutely. The one setting thing is definitely a part of it. That like the one setting and the mystery aspect definitely come from Reservoir Dogs, 100%. But then the chapter structure that doesn't. That I don't believe Reservoir Dogs had a chapter structure. Oh no, it did actually. No, I'm lying. It totally did. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before I watched it, I looked at Tarantino talking about his influences, and just last night I looked at a Q&A between him and Chris Nolan, him talking about his influences for the film there as well. And it's something that I thought while watching the film, and something that's like pretty obvious and just in hindsight, which is that the Thing is like a massive influence on this, and it's like, well, the surface similarities is like Kurt Russell as like one of the main characters, and the snow and the one setting and the Ennio Morricone score, which some of it was actually used for this, like unused music from the Thing,
Yeah.
and but mainly the sense of like paranoia and distrust between all of them, which Tarantino talked about, and yeah, also Reservoir Dogs. But like overall, I feel like this movie has like so many influences, just in terms of like, because the Thing is not a western as well, and
Mm,
also it doesn't have like that chapter structure. So it's like, I think there's a lot going into it, like every Tarantino film. Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Weirdly, like even though it does take a lot from Reservoir Dogs and it does have those influences, it kind of still really has its own identity, at least to me. Maybe if I've seen the Thing, maybe not. But I didn't know about those similarities to the Thing. So the Thing is also one setting.
It's a larger setting
Yeah,
though, isn't
and
it? Because it takes place in like an
oh
Antarctic
yeah,
base, so there's
yeah,
more to it
but
than just like a one room cabin.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. And they're also like locked in by the snow, and like they don't know who to trust and stuff. But
right.
it's not just the Thing. There's also, I think, he talked about like 60s TV shows, Western TV shows, and like I think it's like the Great White Silence or something. So there's like a lot of stuff going into it.
Mm. I love the one location setting, just this one set, with the characters. Vast majority of the time there. I think it's so great. I think it's a great concept overall, and I think Reservoir Dogs is the only other movie I believe off the top of my head that I've seen that does that. But this setting is way better than Reservoir Dogs setting, in my opinion. I just love the singular cabin room, how it's so open, it's so spacious. The movie is shot in ultra wide, so at any time you can just, it's so, you have, the audience has such a great spatial awareness of the location and of the set that you can like easily lay out where everything is in relation to everything else, as opposed to, sometimes in films, the way they're cut together or shot, it's kind of difficult to just, uh, I guess, create a map in your own brain, a layout of where things are just in this small contained space. And this movie doesn't have that issue at all. When you know that there's the two chairs in the center, there's the bar over here, there's the table here, and so on. And I think that's really cool that it's such a small space, but we're able to understand and know so much about it. Um, I think it's pretty neat. But because I don't remember Reservoir Dogs really doing that for me, because Reservoir Dogs is basically just a big empty warehouse, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's got a toilet, I guess, but um, I don't know. And this movie just has and the fact that it's a nice warm place outside of the blizzard has a bit of a cozy feeling for me, at least before it all goes to shit. I love the dialogue. Obviously, everyone talks about Tarantino's dialogue. It's terrific. It's so good, and maybe that's actually might play a part into why the length doesn't bother me so much. Because sure, I agree that we could be cutting things here and there, but if I get to enjoy this dialogue for a bit longer, like, not really an issue for me. Um, so we get a ton of that. All the character setup. I love everything before we even get to the cabin. With the wagon and all the Samuel L. Jackson interactions with Kurt Russell, and then Walton Goggins shows up. Chris is your name, and I love all that stuff. And that's just all. It's just glorified huge exposition, is all it really is. But I don't know. I just found it super entertaining. The whole Lincoln letter introduction was really cool. But yeah, it takes a while for you to kind of actually get to the thread of the movie. And then it's still slow, but then it really all kind of comes around to, I guess, the moment where really the moment from where the movie just goes all in is when Samuel L. Jackson starts talking to the general, whatever his name was. Bruce Dern, I think, played him, if I'm not mistaken. But that whole conversation, and we get the flashback, which he told the story about what happened to his son, and from that point onward, the movie just goes apeshit crazy in a positive direction. Um, were you guys just super entertained from that point on, or does it still have slow moments after that?
Yeah, I mean, I was entertained throughout. It never felt like it dragged, and even like the early carriage scenes um are still great. But yeah, from that point onwards, it's pretty much just everything goes everything yeah it goes to shit basically. Although yeah, the flashback to the secondary story does slow it down a little bit,
It does, yeah.
but yeah.
I still like that though, because it kind of peeled back the layers of every lie that they told. Everything. The whole the Mexicans reveal was great for me. Like how Minnie had to sign up about the Mexicans, and she started letting dogs in. That was so great. I love that so much. Um, Poor old Senior Bob. But no, it definitely added a layer to the movie that I think was necessary, but it does slow the pacing a little bit. But regardless, though, it does feel like from that point onward, there's just moment after moment after moment. Um, I want to know if you guys have a favorite, because there's obviously the flashback of the poor naked son having to suck SLJ's cock, and then we've got bloody the poisoning of the coffee, and it just keeps going until Channing Tatum and flashback and so on and so on. The movie kind of becomes a roller coaster at that point.
Yeah, there's no moment that like stands out to me above any other, you know. But like I do like that second half a lot. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. There's four of them that are working with Minnie instead of just like one or two of them.
Oh yeah, why
Um,
is that?
or just like you know, like you see someone poison the coffee and it's not the guy on the piano, and it's not this person or this person. It's like you're trying to figure it out at that point and like put the you know kind of um put the threads together or whatever.
Mm.
Like figure it out. But there's no. I don't feel like there's a way to figure it out. It's just kind of they have the mystery of the poison coffee, and then it's fairly soon after that they kind of reveal that it's all of them. It's like it doesn't
Right.
kind of maintain mystery, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when you think of Knives Out, it's like, you know, a lot better of a mystery in a way. Because
Sure.
you're constantly given like new details and you're trying to like, reconcile these details together. But this film doesn't really do that. It just kind of gives you the poison coffee, and then like you don't know about the sign, so you don't know that he's lying, the Mexican,
Yeah.
and so you can't figure that out for yourself in that way.
The movie, that's a good point. I haven't really thought about that. The movie doesn't really present its facts and play its cards in a way that the audience is kind of meant to figure anything out. Even though, like, naturally, as the viewer, you're trying to figure it out, but that's not really the intention, I guess, because, as you say, like, Samuel L. Jackson had figured everything. Like, he had already had, like, 8 more clues in his whole brain, in his own brain, rather, the entire time that he wasn't revealing to us. And then he just kind of comes out and says, oh, well, I noticed this earlier, and he had already figured it out. So, in that way, I guess it's more of a mystery for the characters or for the protagonist than it is us.
Yeah,
I think there's
Which is
enough
weird.
clues for the audience because like the fact that Samuel L. like starts questioning Bob immediately. I mean, that immediately sets off alarm bells in your head. I mean, like from that moment, I knew that Bob was not trustworthy.
True.
Um, and like just showing like that single jelly bean in the thing and like the missing glass, it shows you that there was a struggle and that something had occurred there, in fact. And like it's not much. It's not as much as you'd usually give in like a murder mystery type thing. But I think it's enough that to keep the audience satisfied.
Yeah.
yeah. It it's I think it's satisfying, but at the same time, like you, there's no like, oh, this all like connects kind of moment because you're not privy to the details of that Samuel L. Jackson has.
Mm.
Um, but
I mean, yeah.
no, it's still
It leaves
satisfying.
you out a bit, yeah. I guess for me, the character dynamics and the dialogue and all that is driving the movie so hard for me that I didn't bother me so much that I couldn't really work it out. And Jane's right, there are hints and there are things that you can go off of. But yeah, you're also right, Fitzy, at the same time, where it's like, yeah, I don't know if the movie doesn't present its facts in a way that really. I don't think Tarantino wants the audience to try and figure it out at all. I think he's just kind of more than happy
No,
for the characters to figure it out for themselves, and you just watch, Um,
yeah,
and
and
I
this
think it's fine. Yeah,
and this is just me thinking like in retrospect, like it didn't actually bother me during the movie because like the main point is kind of the distrust and the great dialogue and all that and the characters. So the mystery, isn't like front and center for the audience, but
When watching, I was entertained enough to let Tarantino take me on the ride. I wasn't actively
mm,
trying to solve too many things. But apart from the fact that like I was waiting for like a reveal that Domingue was Kurt Russell's daughter, I was like, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. But then yeah, nothing.
uh,
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I was right. There was a relation. It was just the wrong relation. It was to a character that we had never known. So I was like 6 steps
Yeah,
ahead of the movie.
yeah.
well, yeah, I think I actually thought that, but then I remembered like in the carriage that he like elbowed her face, and I don't think that.
No, but yeah, like I had that in mind too. But I still thought maybe he's just aware of like how evil and manipulative she is. That like, he has no problem with this. And then like later on, we're gonna get like like a soft emotional type thing. Like we're like, like not like emotional, but like that Tarantino type of emotional type thing that we'd get. And like
Mm.
yeah. So the only mystery that I was trying to solve, I was wrong. But that's all right.
I do like the solution, if you want to call it that. I like the reveal of what's actually happening with the 4 gang members, because from a rewatch perspective, knowing that already, it makes it really obvious, and it's just like, of course, everyone who's already at the cabin before they arrive is in on it. Makes perfect sense. Like that's where they were going to go. That's where the plan was going to be executed. Totally works. But it's so funny to me, yeah. On my first viewing, though, how much I hadn't even considered that. I'm like, yo, which one of these bloody people is it? Um, yeah, I don't know. I just liked how they're all working together. It worked for me. And then Channing Tatum showing up. that was cool. Although, did the opening credits like spoil that a bit for you? I guess because it did for me. I was like, oh, Channing Tatum's in this movie. What the hell? And then then when he popped up, yeah, it would have been crazy if you didn't know Channing Tatum was in the movie, and then that happened.
Well, yeah, I saw his name in the opening credits, and I saw a bunch of other names, so I thought there'll be like something like more people would be there, like there'll be some town thing or something,
Right.
but then I totally forgot that Channing Tatum was in the movie. So when I saw him, like, well, when he shot Samuel L. Jackson's gonads off from under the thing, I didn't actually know that was Samuel L. Jackson. Like, he was speaking Mexican, and it was kind of at a weird angle, so that didn't. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't know it was Channing Tatum. But
Right.
then when they showed the flashback, it was obviously it was him. That was, yeah.
I didn't like the reveal
that
he was under the floor because like we were given nothing towards it. It was just because like had they heard noises or had we been shown the hatch more explicitly, or like had there been an actual hint that there was an extra player in the game, it would have been okay. But the fact that Tarantino just takes it out of nowhere and shoves it in your face, it doesn't do it. The reveal is not done in a satisfying way, because because like it goes back to the thing that Fitzy was talking about before about is the mystery satisfying or not. Like for the audience to have a satisfying mystery, we have to be given believable clues and decent red herrings and shit. And like you never want to just pluck something out of nowhere and for it to just be explained away, because then the creators being, because like the audience doesn't like to be dumber than the creator type of thing. So like the fact that there was no hint towards it, it feels cheap. It feels like Tarantino just going, oh, how smart am I? But there's not that type of thing.
Oh, I get. I never took it that way. I don't know. I never. Yeah, the how smart am I? I never really took it that way at all. And I think it just links back to me not really seeing it as a traditional murder mystery thing. Like like what you just went over ad nauseum. I don't really think that the movie's trying to present its clues in that kind of way. If it were trying to make a consistent effort to make the audience figure it out, and it did this, I would 100% be with you, Jaden. But I don't know. I don't think the movie never plays all its cards, and I think that Channing Tatum's just another example of it, not doing that. And I thought it was really cool. I love the shot where he just gets shot out of nowhere and it just pans down through the ground. I love that. And then it just cuts to chapter 4. I thought that, yeah, it's one of my favorite moments in the movie for sure.
Yeah, I disagree.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, that just comes down to different tastes, I guess. But yeah. Like, I think because like the thing is, like, we could have another way it could have worked is that had they implied that there was an extra player, it would have when Samuel L. had them all lined up against the wall, grilling them, the audience would have thought, oh, these are all innocent and there's actually someone in the basement type of thing, and it could have worked in a different way type of thing. And I mean, obviously, it works fine.
Oh, right.
It works fine in the way it is, but had it been played more traditionally, that would have been, the way that the audience mind went.
That's true. Do you think that might have still have been like too quick though? Like for the audience to be told, because when he's lining them up, that's pretty much right before Channing Tatum shoots him. So there's not a lot of time there. If the audience is told that there's a fourth member and then it just happens, would that feel a bit strange too?
No, there's a fair bit of I like they're on the wall for a fair bit. I say a fair bit, probably like, I don't know, 15 odd minutes, I reckon, where like he's just telling them why this is not right and that. But I'm talking about clues like earlier in the film that could have been dropped, like from the moment they got in type of thing, not to be right. not just announced there.
Yeah. No, that's true. That could have been cool. God damn it, Tarantino! Why didn't you do that, man?
Yeah, why can't you make a normal movie? Jeez.
Do we have favorite characters? Because this movie is all about its characters, and I've got Walton Goggins as my standout. Chris, whatever his name was, the supposed sheriff of Red Rock, and that's another element of the movie I haven't really had a chance to talk about, is the fact that the deception, and we don't really know what anyone's lying about or not. I mean, for the 4 gang members, that becomes obvious for them, but as for the characters that we find out are kind of not involved, we don't know what they're lying about. We never really learn if he actually is the sheriff of Red Rock, even though I 100% believe him. But he's a standout for me. Sorry, what were you going to say, Len?
Yeah, Daisy is easily my favorite
Yeah.
character. Yeah, she's like so good. Jennifer Jason Leigh's acting, she's just kind of crazy, but you kind of figure out halfway through that she's actually kind of, quite smart as well. She can like figure things out. So she's
Yeah.
like, and then she becomes a gang leader, so she's kind of like a dangerous character as well by the end. But no, yeah, all the characters are super great.
Yeah.
Although I think,
Oh,
no, they're all great.
oh, he hesitated.
Nah,
Come
it's
on,
all
who
good.
do you like less, Fitzy?
Well, okay, when after the line up at the wall, they have like Tim Roth's character and what was the other guy? Joe Gage,
Yeah.
and like I feel like they didn't. I feel like they didn't use the character as they were enough. Like their true selves enough. Like we didn't get much time with them
Oh,
being revealed because like Tim Roth kind of died really quickly after we knew that he was also a part of the gang. But
yeah.
that's nothing on the character. That's just kind of you know that's just kind of the script. But
Huh. I get what you're saying. I feel like I was satisfied with Tim Roth's real identity enough and this sounds like super kind of superficial, I guess. But just because of the accent switch, just because we get his accent completely changes, that for me was enough where I was like, "Oh, okay, no that's funny. This guy is just completely not that." But I agree with you though for Joe Gage though, where
yeah,
we find out he has a different name. I didn't really get any sense for him of what his real personality was.
yeah, I don't feel like he changed that much. He was kind of still a mysterious figure by the end. But
Yeah,
I guess that's part of the point because like a lot of them are still mysterious figures by the end.
yeah,
So there's this all this distrust.
I mean,
But
the best lies incorporate the truth. So I think them all adopting parts of their identity to make the new one. I think that works out.
true, true. Is that what Samuel L. Jackson did with the story he told to the Colonel?
Oh yeah, I reckon like bullshit here.
Yeah,
Like that. That was just to antagonize him to pick up the gun.
that was great.
Yeah.
100% drew him in for self defense. I love that. But do you think I would assume that he? Now I'm trying to think though. Like I would assume he actually did kill his son.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think what he said happened actually happened, but
Yeah.
I would assume he did kill his son. But now I'm thinking, did he? Maybe he didn't, and he's only saying that. Did he hear about the fact that the colonel had a son in the room beforehand? I can't remember. And maybe he just like took that detail and just completely made the whole thing up, or maybe he did actually kill his son. I don't know.
wasn't it? It was mentioned, wasn't it, during the movie?
Beforehand.
No, like in the cabin, wasn't
Yeah, because the general talks to Chris about like he's up there to visit his son. So like that like that's possibly
Right.
why,
Exactly.
like that's possibly where Samuel L. heard it.
Yeah.
But the fact that the general said if my son was like if he was like if he did what he came here to do, he wouldn't be dead or whatever like that. Like that makes me think that like Samuel L. did actually kill him, but just didn't go to the lengths that the film tells you.
And it makes it so much more effective that the characters constantly in the first half are telling stories about each other. To each other as well about their backstories and what happened to them back in the day and all this shit, and it makes like part of me is kind of like, wow, I would love to see some of this visualized, just because it is a lot of telling and telling, even though it is engaging. But at the same time, though, it is really effective that that's the only like story or flashback or whatever you want to call it that we actually get to see visualized. That isn't just the character saying it. Oh yeah, so no, yeah, that's right. I like Chris the Sheriff a lot. Walton Goggins is a standout performance for me in this movie. I'm with Fitzy as well. Jennifer Jason Leigh just completely captures your attention on the screen. She is terrific. But Walton Goggins is terrific. He's got I don't know, his accent and his tone of voice just throughout the way he talks to everyone else is like really unique. I really like it a lot. And yeah, his whole character, like, this Confederate seems kind of is definitely racist and all this, and then the way, I don't know, he had a kind of a cool, soft sort of arc throughout the movie, and he kind of ends up just chilling with SLJ in the end. I appreciate that about it. But what about you, Jane? Do you have a favorite?
Poor old OB who was just doing his job and being nice, and he gets poisoned. I mean,
I know.
Oh,
he gets locked out in the storm, and he's doing all this work with the fencing and shit, and then he just gets screwed over, and
Yeah. Oh my god. What is happening?
Getting a call from Lithuania from some scammer. Yeah, RB. I love that scene where he like runs into the cabin and like takes the the massive blanket off the wall and just goes next to the fire. Wait, was that him?
Yeah.
Or was that the Mexican?
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
That was him. Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, contributing to the whole structure and book feel of the movie that I really like. It is those smaller moments like that. Like, yeah, it seems super random. I feel like in any other movie could be a deleted scene, but kind of contributes to why I do like the length of, he just runs back in and he's just really cold and he just sits by the fire. And it's just like, when I say it, it sounds really dumb, but in the movie, I'm like, oh, I actually like this moment a lot.
Yeah, the film is super funny, like just generally.
Yeah.
When Daisy started singing about Botany Bay in New South Wales, I was like, hey.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
I'm not going to lie. When she started singing, I zoned out so hard. I was not listening to what she was saying at all. And then I read on the trivia what she was singing about, and I was like, wow, now I feel real stupid.
Yeah, no, I'm just, And then
I saw it twice. How bad's that?
Then there was a Kelly character as well. I was like, hey.
Oh, Zoe Bell. Yeah, she's great. We talked about Channing Tatum reveal. I love it. We got the moment of Kurt Russell and the other dude who we were just talking about, whatever his name was, drinking the coffee and them being poisoned right before Chris drinks it, and then just splattering blood everywhere. I love that moment. That kind of, I guess the Samuel L. Jackson flashback bit is where the movie really kind of kicks into high gear, but that moment is where the mystery really starts to come to the forefront again of your attention. And just kind of comes out of nowhere because, I mean, you're told that the coffee's poison, but still, when Kurt Russell just freaking vomits blood everywhere, I was like, Jesus Christ. And that, the aesthetic of that as well, with the hyper violent gore and everything that this movie obviously has, I really like that as well.
Dude, when the narrator kicked in at like chapter 4 or whatever it was, like when like Daisy, I was so shocked. I was like, was there one at the beginning that I missed? Like, I was like, hold on.
It seemed really random, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it works though. It's kind of like how it goes back to the book structure of you having like this, what's it called, omniscient figure type thing. They're just telling you what's going on.
Yeah, I liked it too, and it's so funny Tarantino putting on this really, like, serious voice. I've got to sound not like me at all, because listen to Tarantino at all in real life. He sounds nothing like it at all. It's so funny. I wonder how much effort he had to put on that voice. I feel like, I agree with 100%, Jan. I feel like it was that kind of risky of a decision. I feel like it might not have worked, just because, oh, by the way, I'm just telling you right now that this major plot device happened, and I'm just saying it to you. There's now poison in the coffee. Go back to the movie. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. In context, after we get the chapter switch, after what had just happened before it, I think it works. What else we got? We haven't said about the score yet. I mean, it's pretty great, isn't it? It's pretty bloody great. I love the opening main theme, and it comes back in chapter 4 as well. But the opening credits, I just love zooming out on this statue. So simple, but I found it really kind of hypnotizing, for lack of a better term. And the tune was dope.
They used a crane for that because the Panavision lens doesn't have a zoom, so it's just a massive crane to do that.
Really? It doesn't have a zoom? Interesting.
Yeah, and like it was kind of, Tarantino said it was like a challenge for him because, he usually has a lot of quick zooms and stuff in his films.
Yeah.
But one of the main things he tried to do with it was, because it's so like wide and stuff, it's like you said, like how you can see everyone in the shot and like where their positions are,
100%.
Like in the background you'll see like, Joe Gage to the left and like, British what's the guy's name?
Uh, Oswaldo
Yeah, it's
or
like to the
Pete or
right
whatever.
at
Yeah.
the bar and stuff. So like, yeah, that really works for it. So yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah. No, that totally contributes to the spatial awareness I was talking about. You see everyone at all different times of their position in the place. Lets the audience kind of fill it all in their heads, and it makes the whole architecture of the scene make perfect sense. This movie's stunning. Like, I love the colors, I love all that stuff. But yeah, the ultra wide adds so much to it visually. I like it. The movie's great visually for all the reasons we just said, and those reasons aren't just things look pretty. It is actually practical to the story being told, which I think really elevates the whole thing.
I have a really weird complaint that I just
Oh shit!
thought
All
of.
right, all right.
Um, I really wished someone went to the toilet, um, or like just to the barn or something. So we just got like I love that it's mainly in the cabin and stuff. And it's a great setting, but we don't get any like gun fights like outside of that. Like I don't know, like if like if they utilized the storm in a way that it was like there was a drill during it or something, I think that could have been a little interesting.
Fitzy begging for more action sequences?
What?
What is
I mean,
happening?
like outside, like like just take one of those confrontations outside with all
Yeah,
the beautiful snow and stuff.
that could have been
Um,
cool. I love how, like, in the end, I totally got what you're saying, but I love how that complaint started with, I wish someone went to the toilet.
yeah, but like someone should have gone to the toilet at some point.
Definitely, yeah.
All that stew and coffee and stuff.
We got a bit off topic from the score. My apologies. I'll kick it back off with some trivia. Wow. Composer Ennio Morricone was quoted as saying he would never work with Quentin Tarantino after how his music was handled on Django Unchained. Which, for reference, I believe he composed an original song or two for that movie, and one of them wasn't used, or something. It was something like that. Some of his music wasn't used in that movie. However, he ultimately changed his mind and he agreed to score this movie. Obviously, that was just a kicking back off point. How do we feel about the score?
Yeah, the score was great. I think, yeah, as I mentioned, there was some unused music from The Thing, which really um elevated it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ennio Morricone had like 2 weeks to do it because Tarantino had already shot everything and he had like a month to get the score in, but he was working on something else, so like Tarantino like just had to like talk about it with him a lot and like convince him, and Ennio just got really like passionate about it and inspired.
I mean, like, yeah, I think it did its job, and that was it. Like, there was nothing that really made me say, "Oh wow, that was amazing."
really.
Yeah, no, I don't because like when you were talking about it just before, like there was nothing in my head that I was like I was trying to think back, and there's nothing in my mind that I was like, oh yeah, that was actually pretty cool. But like I think it does its job. I think it serves it well. Some I think like when it's a bit more dramatic and like just like in establishing shots of like the cabin or like just like the carriage ride or whatever, like where they're showing there's like a wider scope of things. When it kicks up that bit, I think it's a bit more memorable. But like just as an overall,
I don't know. I kind of see what you're saying. It definitely, for me, the main theme was a really standout though. Um, I just love how, I don't know. For me, maybe I don't know what Morricone was going for, but it had this great tone of, it was really sinister in its tone, but also like had the inclusion of dude, I don't know instruments at all, I don't know anything about music, but like had like some drum kind of beats to it. Like, I don't know, like what do you call like the friggin' thing on a on a drum that's like the gold thing, you know what I'm talking about, like the gold circular
symbols,
thing, the cymbals. Thank you.
symbols,
It had some, like, I feel like it had some
or like
cymbals
hi
in there,
hats or like
right?
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, whatever they are. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I feel like it
yeah.
had some of that in there too. So you have got this really sinister, like, tone that really feels like it belongs in this remote setting. But then you've also got these symbols, I guess, or whatever it was, that kind of makes it at the same time feel like a Tarantino movie, and all that kind of just came together. in this weird way for me to go like, holy shit. And the score's also got some really comedic moments as well at the right points, which stood out as well.
I feel like the symbols kind of elevate, like add to that, like a classic mystery type of thing. Like, you know, like you imagine like a, you know, like your 60s, 70s type of mystery, and like, you know, like you tend to imagine like a smooth jazz score type thing. So I feel like the symbols will add to like that mystery type of thing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, 100%.
I like the um the Apple Blossom like rock song that they play in the cabin, because it's kind of like
Oh yeah, what
completely
the
different.
White Stripes started playing at one point, didn't they too?
Yeah, like it's kind of completely, is it completely different from the setting. But I don't know, it's just really, it's
It,
like a great, like it's like a great thing for Daisy's character, I guess, like to kind of like introduce that element.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it, we haven't talked about the ending. Have we got anything to say about that? I liked it. It felt kind of, even though, everything in the movie kind of only took place in one day, and it's in this really contained place. To me, the ending felt like when the credits hit, I felt like I'd been on a journey with these characters. Felt
For
like I'd kind of
sure.
take a deep breath. Yeah,
I think especially like with the relationships that developed between Samuel and Chris Mannix, like I think like their journey alone, you know, is enough to like just like pull you over as to feel like you've actually experienced like, you know, an actual journey, because like they go from like this mutual dislike or distrust or just hate or whatever, and the way that by the end, you know, they're hanging together and they're lying in the bed and it's kind of like, you know, just chummy type of thing, you know. It's like it's yeah, I
yeah.
think the yeah
It's simple character development that I thought was really effective, and obviously there's the racial subtext to that, but and like I don't know, like I felt the racial subtext. I was like, oh yeah, good for these two, but it never felt forced. It never felt like it was in my face. I never got the impression that Tarantino is like trying to make a social message of any kind. It just really felt organic.
The ending is very like nihilistic as well, because as I said, they're probably gonna die anyway, but they kind of at peace in a way. Like they kind of
Yeah,
just sick of it all and like whatever will be,
definitely.
and it definitely reminds me of like certain endings from different influences, Reservoir Dogs and other things.
Yeah,
So,
really similar to Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, I mean, I never looked at the ending any other way than they. I just always assumed that they die. I never really. Do you guys see it any other way?
yeah.
yeah, like even if they survive the 2 to 3 days, there's always the possibility that there are, the 15 people at the town that come and kill them anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That was a cool little thing thrown in there because the movie, has got so much deceit and lies going on, and most of them are just. I feel like most of them the audience is inclined not to believe. But then, yeah, actually, maybe not, because then I kind of believe that Chris is the sheriff. But regardless, I don't know, something about like maybe it was her performance, but I believed Donahue when she said that that there were 15 men. I was kind of more on her side there on that one. I was like, I feel like there is.
No, I just thought it was her desperation, just trying to get out of.
That's awesome though. Like the fact that
yeah.
yeah, everyone just comes away with who they believed and who they didn't. Let me throw out some more trivia. After the script leaked online, which was kind of an infamous thing that happened in 2014, I think, writer and director Quentin Tarantino did not want to make this movie, which is fair enough, obviously. He wanted to convert it into a novel, interestingly enough. However, after they did a brief reading of the script in Los Angeles, the cast was stunned and got excited for the film, and with Samuel L. Jackson persuaded him to do the movie, Tarantino accepted. So we almost
Yeah.
never got this movie as a result of some
Well,
leaks.
yeah. Well, the script reading is different from the actual script that ended up happening, because how Tarantino usually does his scripts is he writes some like novels and just adds like all these like excessive like scenes and details in, and then when he actually gets on set, he decides like what he's going to film and what feels right. But um, with this movie, it was the first time he actually did like drafts. So he went through like 3 drafts, and I think like one of the drafts was the one that leaked, but it wasn't like the final draft because he kept like improving and changing things.
Yeah.
I'll hit you with a bit of trivia now. I'll
Oh
take your job,
shit!
Zach.
Oh my
I,
god!
I I just saw that that Pete Hecox is like related to the gen like Michael Fassbender's character from Inglourious Bastard, because his name's Hecox as well. And I think Tarantino confirmed it, or like he like implied at like some panel or something like that. And I think that's a good little connection between his movies.
Which character in the
Hang on,
movie?
hang on, hang on, hang on. I got this, guys. I got this. I got this. Don't. I literally had this one. God damn it. Oswaldo
Sorry.
Mowbray. Well, Oswaldo Mowbray's real name, who's Tim Roth's character, his real name is revealed to be Pete Hecox, making him an ancestor to Inglorious Bastards character Lieutenant Archie Hecox, who's Michael
Oh,
Fassbender's character in that movie. There we go.
okay.
Teamwork. We got there.
Mm. I mean, Inglourious Basterds is the better movie, but at least there's a
Wow.
connection to it in this one.
We mentioned the. I mentioned the glorified violence. Just a quick shout out to all the heads exploding. I enjoyed that. Every time someone got shot in the head, man, they just exploded. Holy shit. Channing Tatum, he has no face at all anymore.
Neither does Groucho the Mexican or whatever his name is.
Yeah, neither does him. Nah. All those people that they killed at Minis.
Yeah.
One of those dudes. Yeah, shame.
I mean, like it's like up until like the end of the third chapter, I think like there's not really much violence at all, I guess. So like I was happy to see Tarantino taking a bit of a different direction. Like I had a feeling it was all coming, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There was nothing up until you're absolutely right. Chapter 4.
Like in terms of like Tarantino's over stylized violence, like I'm kind of like on and off with it. Like, I think in a Kill Bill Volume 1, like when the bride like is like fighting the crazy 88, and like every time she cuts off someone's head or limb or whatever, and, like just absolutely squirts out. Like, I don't really love that, and like I don't really love the violence in this movie either. But, like, if you look at something like Django or like Reservoir Dogs, I think it's a bit better. I don't know why, because I'm pretty like it's all the
Yeah.
same, I guess. But yeah, it's just something personally.
I mean,
I think there's something to that for me anyway, because I really like it in this movie, and I'm with you on the others. Except, I'm Kill Bill does nothing for me violence wise. So I wonder why we dislike that there. I don't know. Maybe it's for me. Maybe it's just the genre, the connection to the fact that it's an action movie and it's trying so hard to be a zany action movie, which I appreciate, but I don't know. Doesn't really do it for me. Maybe it's the fact that these genres are so I don't know different. Maybe.
With Inglourious Basterds is another one where like I'm like in that movie alone, I'm like kind of on and off with it, where sometimes I think it works and sometimes I don't think it does. Like, I think the scalping thing, like for some reason that always gets me. And I'm like, yeah, that's too far. I'm like, I don't want to watch that on screen. But like, there's other times like when they're shooting, when they shoot Hitler so much that like it's just skin flapping around or whatever. Like, that's fine. Yeah, I guess it's just
Yeah.
it just depends on the context of each scene. But yeah, I didn't love it in this movie.
Maybe we're just saying we like it when it's guns. I don't know.
No, because like I don't love the way it became a bloodbath, because like yeah, I don't know, because I like that it was that it was a bit tame, and then like for it to be just reversed as his nuts get shot, his face gets shot, his head explodes, he vomits blood. Like
it
yeah,
was definitely the most like extreme in this movie. I felt like.
I guess you two are just wrong.
Wow.
Guess so. Did you? I mentioned earlier that I didn't feel like there was like one moment that it built to, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. How do you feel about that, Zach? Do you feel like there was?
I kind of agree with you. I do agree with you there, but it's not it doesn't bother me at all, because I feel like the sequence of events that we get in that second half is just so, to me, like bang, 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 that sure, it doesn't feel like we get one climactic thing, but I was so engaged and entertained by all those individual moments that didn't really bother me. Like getting the flashback, getting the poison, getting the vomit, getting the lineup, getting Channing Tatum, like all these just hitting back to back. I was like so in on that ride. All right, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give our scores and then we'll think about something that we can talk about after, like we usually do.
Sure. I'm sure that'll happen. Scores out of 10. I'll give it a 9 again. I gave it this the first time. I love it. Love this movie. yeah, I don't know. It totally vibes with me. I do zone out at some little points, but overall, I feel like it does. It totally just grabs me with its structure and what it's trying to do, and its characters and its dialogue and all. It's just kind of entrancing to me in this, in a kind of somewhat describable way. If you trust anything I've said throughout this entire thing, but yeah. What about yous?
Bill, say that again.
Yous.
Try
Sorry to
again,
gross
mate.
you
Try
out.
again. Yeah.
Oh god. Oh god. Nah, I'm not trying again. I own it.
Bloody Aussies.
Well, am I not going to get a response until I say it right?
I mean, I was letting Fitzy go, but if that's the process we're taking,
okay.
yeah.
I interpreted it that way. Okay, but yeah, okay, yeah, Fitzy.
What do you think, Jaden?
7. I think it's probably like I think it's great, obviously, but I think it's like my second least favorite Tarantino film. But
Right.
yeah, I think there's a lot to love about it. I think we talked about a lot of it. But there's just things that hold me back from really giving it any more than what it is. Like, and it's things that can be overlooked and forgiven. Like, which is like what you're doing, Finny. But it's just like, for me personally, like it's just things that would have made it better to mesh with me more. Like the things that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
that's why I'm just holding back and giving it a 7.
I get it. I get it.
I'll give it an 8. I think it does the like. I think like each. It's kind of a movie with a lot of confrontations, and the way that each confrontation builds tension with just like the dialogue alone is it's entertaining throughout, and it has a great like claustrophobic atmosphere, and yeah, I'll give it an 8.
All right. Use chat. Jesus, we got a lot this week, so let's try and get through it relatively fast, I guess. Netflix is introducing a speed up feature. It's coming to Android in the next few weeks. Discuss.
I think I heard them like talking about a beta for this feature like a few years ago, and I remember like there was a discussion there. I mean, obviously I hate it, but you look at Netflix series like Warrior Nun and shit, like they just basically glorified YouTube videos. So I mean, speed that shit up. I don't care. But yeah. I mean, is it a feature I'm going to use? No. Is it a feature that they're going to implement and people are going to use? Yeah. Do I care? Sure, I guess, kind of, but not really.
Sure. I feel like this was worth bringing up. I feel like, some interesting conversations could come about similar to the whole watching movie on phones thing. But, I got no issue with this whatsoever. Could not care less. Am I going to use it? No, I'm 100% not. Absolutely with you there, Jaden. But totally harmless. People can use it if they want. I don't care. Look, there are many things that people do that, in my opinion, ruin the viewing experience of a film. Watching on phones in the car, potentially watching on your phone speakers. Many things, that people can do right now that, in my opinion, is a terrible viewing experience. This is just one more. Whatever. Come on, Fitzy, have you got a hot take on this?
No, it's good. More options. I think speeding up can be good for like documentaries where it's just information.
Sure.
And it's not trying to give like an actual cinematic effect.
Yes.
Got it. But
Yeah.
no, like more options the better.
Yeah, I can't wait to go over The Irishman in an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be helpful for that one. It might also help with a lot of their, pretty trash, seasons of television that you can just like dart through. So
I
why
mean,
not?
I know people that use like because like they have the 10-second forward and backward feature already. I know people who abuse that and they just skip through it anyway. So I mean, like it's not really that different anyway.
Yeah. God, that's weird. Imagine doing that. Like that's like I get speeding up because you're still able to intake the information. Skipping is just skipping. Like you're not even receiving anything of what you just skipped.
Yeah,
That's
no.
strange.
I mean, unless you're already seen the movie and you just want to skip to the
Oh,
good
sure.
parts.
Well, then yeah. I use the rewind 10 seconds all the time when I realize I was zoning out for like 15 seconds and I'm like, oh shit, just dart back real quick. I like it.
Yeah.
Really,
Oh,
I just take that as part of the film and just give that part of criticism of the fact that they couldn't hold my attention. Screw them. I'm gonna spend another 15 seconds on your shitty film.
do you guys use subtitles often?
Yeah, pretty much. Like most of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I feel
Yeah,
like I use them
I do.
sometimes. I feel like I should use them more though.
Do you use them for games?
Yeah, 'cause
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't want to like miss anything and have to like go back or anything.
Mm.
Yeah, I get that. I
For
get that.
for some products like like sitcoms like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or like Community or whatever, I don't usually chuck them on because you don't miss too much dialogue. But if it's like some English drama where there's some strong accents, you
Yeah,
might
I
want
was
to chuck
about to
them on.
mention. Yeah, I was about to mention this
Mm.
is England. Like I couldn't interpret what the heck they were saying, so I needed
Yeah,
captions for that.
Yeah.
I remember watching This Is Sunderland Till I Die, and like the guy's northern accent was so strong that like not even like having a feature on like Netflix had to chuck subtitles on it. Like he was speaking perfect English, but like like the accent was so strong and just so different. Like they're like, yeah, no one's gonna
Mm.
understand.
There you go. I need to do that more. All right. Well, I thought we were going to get a bit more ranty on that, so I'm glad that that skewed a bit more positive. However, here we go, guys. Disney Plus Mulan, obviously meant to have theatrical releases multiple times, but now it'll be releasing on Disney Plus, also in theaters at the same time. So if you're in a place where theaters are open, you can do that. But the film will be releasing on Disney Plus. You have to have a Disney Plus subscription, but the catch is you have to pay an extra $30 US, 41 Australian dollars, on top of your subscription price to be able to watch Mulan, which you would then lose if you unsubscribe from Disney Plus. But then presumably get it back if you resubscribe. I presume it's just always tied to your account, but who cares about that?
I kind of like spent myself talking about it last night to you boys. So Fizzy, if you can take over, but like, I mean, I don't know. It just pisses me off that this is something that they're going to try, and I like I was saying last night. I hope no one does it so that it doesn't become a new thing. Because if this becomes a new precedent for streaming services, where we'll charge people $10 and then we can get them we'll get another $40, by them purchasing this exclusive. I mean, it's just another disgusting attempt by despotic companies to make more money. I mean, and it's really telling that Disney is the first one to try it because they're great little bastards. Zach did bring up an interesting argument last night because I was saying if you're going to release it in theaters and Disney Plus at the same time, who's going to pay $40 to watch it on Disney Plus when you can pay $12 at a theater to watch it? But he was bringing up the thing about if you're a family of four, and you could just bang out $40 this time and you get to see it, then it is the more cost effective thing. But another thing I hate about it is the fact that they tell you that you own this film now once you buy it for $40, but you don't own it. It's on this digital service that the minute you decide actually no, I no longer want this shit, they're gonna rip it away from you as well. So there's another $40 gone. I mean, like it's yeah, I think it's a horrid move, and I really hope, like I said earlier, I hope no one buys into it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I suppose, but like people pay $40 to go to the theater, and you don't own that experience. You just pay, you pay for the viewing of the one.
Yeah, but you're paying
section of
for
the film.
a cinema experience. Like I'm not going to sit at home on my shitty couch, pay $40 to witness some B grade film.
People go to the theater like to pay to view the movie. That's what they're literally paying for.
Yeah, but it's a cinema experience still. And the only reason the cinemas are so expensive is because people like they bring in their own snacks and shit when they're not buying the cinema snacks, and that's stealing more money from the cinemas. So shit just gets driven up again, and people complain about the prices. And I mean, like it's just a cycle of people need to learn to support their local cinema and shit won't be so expensive. But like, no, we want to take in snacks from Coles. Like, stop buying shit from Coles. Just buy shit from the cinema.
Holy shit! Wow, we've got hot takes here. You're endorsing. Wow, I mean, personally, I'd rather not buy a $38 large Coke. That's just my preference.
Yeah, well, they're not $38, though, are they?
They may as well be.
If you buy $38 Coke now, then in the future they're going to be $36, so it'd be all right. Support your local cinema. Don't buy shit from other places.
Oh well, there we go. it was definitely an interesting move, and it could very well become a precedent, which I also lean towards it. I hope not. I'm with you there. But what else we got? We got, guys, get hyped. Best news of all time. John Wick 5 has been announced, and it's filming back to back with John Wick 4 early next year. Holy shit. Get friggin' hyped. I'm so excited. I heard that. I was like, this is dope. Imagine if they do a Matrix Reloaded Revolutions. They both release in the same year. Mind blown.
Simultaneous release around the world.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Would you get into cinema at 2 a.m. to watch John Wick 4?
I mean, no.
No.
I mean, if I could see it the next morning, no. I assume that's what you mean. I assume you're just saying,
Yeah.
like, if that's when it opens. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But if that's all the only time you can see it, then obviously yes. All right, great to see you guys share my enthusiasm.
Well, I haven't seen John Wick 3, but like John Wick 3, it looked like it was kind of on a big scale, and like each film kind of has gone like up in scale in a way. So are they just gonna like keep doing that, like just keep getting bigger? Or like
Sure.
what could they do?
Probably.
Yeah, each film has gotten bigger, hasn't it? Because the first one is just like stays in New York, doesn't it? And the second one they go to Europe and then head to Africa and shit.
Yeah, they go all over the place in 3. Yeah,
Out of space next time.
Go to space.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's only with Tom Cruise in space.
Yeah.
Crossover. That'd be great.
Amazing.
John Wick's is Ethan Hunt's new target.
Yeah, John Wick goes.
Let's try and be a bit rapid fire with these. Raised by Wolves, Ridley Scott TV show for HBO Max. You saw the trailer, Jaden, and you said it looked kind of trash.
Yeah, the trailer did nothing for me. The trailer, like just the coloring alone, is just so boring. Like when I talked about it, just before the show, like it's all just grey and it just looks like just bland. And like there was one CGI shot of like a city getting bombed, and like it looked really bad. And like the story wise, I was also talking to Finny about it. Like it seems like the story is kind of similar to Horizon Zero Dawn, where this new generation of people has to be raised by this AI thing. So like it was just a combination of those things, and like even the acting didn't seem like bang on. So I mean, like I'm not overly keen on it. But it is Ridley Scott returning to some Android shit. So I mean, fans of Blade Runner and the Alien franchise, I guess, can't get excited.
People who like Blade Runner can get excited. I definitely won't be one of them.
Have you seen many of Ridley Scott's? This is a discussion we should have had last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess. But because Scott's films aren't like the characters aren't always that interesting. I think there's obvious exceptions, like when you look at like Thelma and Louise and like Alien and the Alien franchise and like Gladiator and stuff like that. But if you look at films like Black Hawk Down and All the Money in the World, and now seemingly this show, like the characters are just dull, emotionless, and like just the story in general, like the way it's executed, just doesn't seem, that enticing.
Yeah. I mean, when I say this, I'm not speaking to his skill at all, because again, extremely talented, blah blah blah, all the rest. But Ridley Scott kind of strikes me as a bit of a Steven Spielberg type, just in the sense that he just does so many movies of so varying genres all over the place that you kind of him being attached to something. Sure, he's a name, but like it doesn't really speak to its quality automatically by default or anything like that. And yeah, characters do contribute.
I don't know. Most of his films and Spielberg's films are still quality.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, sure. But like, you kind of get varying, like just random Hollywood blockbuster stuff, mixed with true stories, mixed with very specific genre films, mixed with all over the place, mixed with now TV shows. Like, it just kind of loses a bit of identity of what kind of filmmaker he really is. He just kind of attaches himself to everything. Which isn't a bad thing necessarily. It just kind of creates a thing for me where I kind of lose interest.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, there's directors in the part. Like, I mean, Kubrick's done just about everything from like horror to war to romance to everything else. But like, his films are still very easily identifiable because he's created his own distinct style. Whereas I feel like Scott and Spielberg don't really have the same thing.
Sure.
Well, I was gonna say like Spielberg kind of does have the same, like, have a similar thing where like his one of his primary things is like ordinary people in extraordinary situations. So I guess like he does kind of have
Hmm.
that in his thing,
Yeah,
but
well, he
yeah,
has he's very sentimental as well, kind of like schmaltzy style.
Did you say schmaltzy?
Yeah, like um,
What does that
yeah,
mean? I don't know.
just like heartfelt and like sentimental.
Oh, okay, okay. I see that.
is Jaws very sentimental?
I mean, probably not, but like I don't know, like ET and like um,
Ready Player One had me bawling.
Ready Player One.
No, we're actually exposing you, but I totally get what you mean. I 100% get it.
Yeah.
Rebecca remake, a Hitchcock film from 1940, getting remade. Dan, have
Oh
you
really?
seen the original? So I didn't
No,
ask
I've
that.
got it. Yeah, no, I've got it, and it's just sitting there waiting for me to watch it, but I haven't got around to it. But it's a very famous film. I think it's it's one of it's probably like Hitchcock's like fifth or sixth most famous film, I'd say. But
Right.
I think remaking it's an interesting thing because I mean, like it kind of feels like one of those classics that's not to be touched. I mean, it hasn't been touched for like 80 years now. So yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about it. But I mean, the cast and the directors got me interested, I guess.
Who's the director?
Ben Wheatley, who
Ben Wheatley.
yeah, let me quickly bring up his thing because I forgot. Yeah, he's done things like High Rise and Free Fire, which I think are great. He's done other films like Kill List and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm alright with him.
Cool. Let me actually get to the rapid fire of the rapid fire. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back immediately. Let's just go straight to Fitzy. I'm thinking of Ending Things trailer.
Mm,
You're interested in this for some reason, apparently. Let me know. You're telling about the
yeah.
writer? I don't know anything about this. Let me know. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. I'll inform you. Yeah, I'm thinking of ending things. Well, it's a novel adaptation, but written and directed by Charlie Kaufman. I think it's at least directed by, and Charlie Kaufman's has an amazing, uh, filmography for his like scripts and his movies. He wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Being John Malkovich, and there was another one he wrote for someone, adaptation, and he also wrote and directed Synecdoche in New York and bloody Anomalisa. So yeah, he's like hyper talented screenwriter, and he's never really done anything horror, but his films are so weird and out there. They kind of delve into that territory, and so the trailer is just kind of yeah, his usual extremely off-putting weird style mixed with horror, which makes it seem like absolutely terrifying. So yeah, it's coming to Netflix. I'm very excited for it. I guess
When is it coming?
September 4th,
Oh,
I
cool. Not
believe.
far.
Mm. And he wrote the script for as long as with other people for Chaos Walking as well, which is coming next year maybe. Or with has like Tom Holland and some other people I can't
Daisy
remember right
Ridley,
now.
Doug Liman
Daisy
directing.
Ridley, yeah.
Patrick Ness wrote the novel.
All right, that's it for news. What have we been watching? I'll go first just to get out of the way. I watched Unhinged. This Russell Crowe movie. Went to the theatre while I could. What's it about, you ask? It's about Russell Crowe. He's this angry guy. He gets road rage. He's really pissed, this pissed dude. That's his character. He's pissed guy. And he just goes on a rampage, just wants to start killing some people, wants to start causing some mayhem, some violence. So he does that for 90 minutes. And that's the movie. And it's totally unoriginal. It's not really, yeah. I mean, what I described was like literally it. So it definitely doesn't sound all that interesting. But I enjoyed it. I was along for the ride. The film's just totally trying to be exactly what I said and just trying to Yeah, I don't know. It's not trying to do anything too mind blowing. I appreciate it had some like clever plot beats. I thought, not, I don't know, clever might be exaggerated, but like I thought the plot was kind of. It had some elements that I thought were well executed in regards to. I'm saying it like this because it's like at the end of the day, it's just so Russell Crowe. It's just all excuses so Russell Crowe can go and do violent shit. But Russell Crowe, he's cool. I enjoyed his performance. I appreciate that the director seemed to just say, Russell, just try and be a psycho for us. And that's literally what he did. And I enjoyed it because he's Russell Crowe. Um, so, yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I think my enjoyment mainly just came from the fact that I was just along for the ride. Didn't have to think too much about it at all. And yeah, Unhinged. Check it out if you like the idea of it's a really short movie, which was also a pro in my opinion. Didn't overstay its welcome at all. You're in, you're out. A little Russell Crowe mayhem. If
Zach,
that sounds up your alley.
say Russell Crowe one more time.
Russell Crowe, Russell Crowe, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe deserves his name to be said as many times as I deem necessary, Fitzy, actually, just so you know.
No, I just needed that one more. Thanks.
Academy Award winner Russell Crowe.
Golden Exits. It's this indie film from Alex Ross Perry. I liked it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's just a bit of a soft talk, indie film. Not much else to say about it. Living in Oblivion. Steve Buscemi, he's this filmmaker guy, and is this low budget filmmaker, and like everything that could go wrong goes wrong on the set. It's like he's trying to get this one shot, but like every time something interferes with it, and so he needs to like redo it. And it's like very creative film. It's got like this black and white style, and at the start, and then it kind of changes, and there's a dream. It's very dreamy, and it's got Peter Dinklage in it at one point, and some other great actors. Yeah, and then I just rewatched Boyhood. No special
Terrible
occasion. Yeah, I pretty much rewatch it like once a year pretty much, so just getting that rewatch in, Great movie.
Sure. Oh, we've really lost some momentum, haven't we? I feel like the only way I can kind of energize this segment again is to just keep saying Russell Crowe's name, and maybe I'll conjure some kind of enthusiasm in all of us.
I think that sapped it all out.
Okay, maybe it had the opposite effect. I think you're right, actually. Well, whose name can we say to bring it all back?
Well, it's the director of X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, it's something Hood, wasn't it? Shit. Gavin Hood. It was Gavin Hood. No shit, it was. Okay.
Oh, I'm excited now. Thank God.
Gavin Hood. Terrible CG. Gavin Hood. Now you're hyped again, Jadden.
They're going to keep every Gavin Hood in the final edit.
Every single one.
Sick. I rewatched Some Like It Hot. I didn't realize I was rewatching it. Well, I had a feeling I'd seen it before, but it wasn't until I started watching it that I realized, oh yeah, no, I have seen this all. But it was nonetheless great. It's stars Marilyn Monroe and some other blokes who I can't recall right now. And it's a comedy about these two dudes trying to escape the Chicago mob, and they dress up as women and they join an all girls band and they head down to Florida. And shenanigans ensue. That's great. It's really great. It's got a lot of heart and a lot of charm, and it's very I'd consider it rather progressive because you've got you have two cross-dressing characters, but then they're not serious. That's a bit of a laugh, but then one of them ends up in a relationship with the dude, and the whole film is very for 1959, I'd consider it a bit progressive.
Sure. Yeah.
I watched Dario Argento's Inferno, which is the second film in the Three Mothers series, the first film being Suspiria. Suspiria is brilliant. It's like the best horror film I've ever seen. It's just a brilliant, study of color and just gorgeous story and brilliant storytelling. Yeah, like everything about this video is great. Like the soundtrack by Goldman. Um, and Inferno has elements of that, but it misses out on having an engaging story because it's got the same color and the same acting and characters and type of thing. But it just, there's a big hole in the middle of it missing, which is the fact that it's not that engaging and the story it crafts is not, entertaining enough. It does, one of the better parts about it is that it does elevate, Suspiria a bit further by adding to the story a bit, the lore about, like, the three mothers and, like witches, three different witches around the world and stuff like that. So, yeah, but Inferno was gave it a 7 out of 10, pretty good. I watched The Ritual, which is a Netflix horror film. That was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. It's about four blokes going on a bit of a lad's holiday to Sweden. That really undersells what happens, but and they go hiking and troubles occur as someone gets injured and they try to take shortcuts through the forest and
Jesus.
crazy shit happens in Swedish forests. Um, but that was really good. It crafted tension really well, and the dilemmas that each character have, just like personal issues and issues with just with each of their relationships with each other and stuff, like the way that they unfold. It's all rather good. It's being compared to The Descent a bit, just because it's like that same kind of thing about a group of all male this time, but all female in The Descent. They go to this. They're going on a holiday all together, which they traditionally do or whatever. And as they go there, things go wrong and there's problems with someone, and the story in that terms is like rather similar, but the settings and what occurs are different enough that I think it distinguishes its own, personality. It crafts the way they craft the tension as well is rather different and rather good, because what The Ritual does is that the camera tends to just hang behind someone for a bit too long, and you get this feeling that there's someone else there and you're looking for it, or there's just a shot of nothing, just like the woods, and you're just waiting to see something, but you don't see it until the reveal. That was pretty good. I watched The Man Who Knew Too Much, which is it's an Alfred Hitchcock film, but it's actually a remake of one of his earlier films. That was okay. It kind of had that traditional Hitchcock, playing with the audience type of chicanery, with a bit of suspense and a bit of a bit of twists and turns type of thing. But it falters quite a bit in terms of once again, it's not that it doesn't really grasp you and it doesn't hold you all the time. I then watched Rope, which is another Hitchcock film, and that is brilliant, absolutely 10 out of 10 brilliant. It's actually adapted from a stage play. So it has this one setting, which is just this New York apartment, and it's about these two blokes who kill their friend, and then they have a party, and that the person they murdered is hidden in the room while his family is there too, and it's just unbelievably tense, and the films are just this rising tension throughout until it all explodes or something that happens. And it's all shot in a one take cinema style. I think it's actually 6 shots, but just
Oh, wow.
to enhance that to enhance that stage type of effect. It's all that type of thing. But Rope is brilliant. I think it's my favorite Hitchcock film I've seen. Like I said before, just 10 out of 10 straight up. Rewatched Snatch, but I've talked about Snatch enough. I feel 10 out of 10 straight up. And then I watched Shadow of a Doubt, which is also Hitchcock, which is pretty decent too. Gave it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that one. I mean, it's just classic Hitchcock, in terms of mystery, suspense, twists. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, now it's time for a question of the show. Last week what did we ask? Oh yeah, best original song in any movie. Okay, I'm preparing to read. I have to mentally conjure the will to not screw up words. I'm really scared about all this, to be honest. I just need everyone to know that I stuff up these words because I think I speak part. Well, already stuffing it. I think I speak on behalf of all three of us that the effort it takes to conjure correct sounding sentences for the length that we record the show is pretty difficult already, and now I actually have to read someone else's sentences. I'm making excuses, but regardless. Luke said, "Best original song, you say?" Yes, thanks, Luke. Appreciate the yeah. You need only to turn to the fine musical pages of the great man himself, Phil Collins. Take a ponder at his works of fine Disney films, and your eyes will come across the divine lyrics and soundtrack of a humble film called Tarzan. Strangers Like Me would have to be my favourite from the list, although You'll Be in My Heart had much more success as it was released as a mainstream song. Also, Strangers Like Me was upbeat. Literally, the drums in that slapped. They literally slapped, wow. And not only pleased the eardrum of any film viewer, but also was effectively used as a cinematic device. God, he said, God, classic essay writing here, to show the growing relationship between Tarzan, not the Tarzan, and Jane. What can I say? 90s Disney movies just rocked. Hell yeah, man. Lachlan said,
Tarzan's got to be
the
one of the
song,
worst Disney movies, though, doesn't it?
I don't know, I feel like I've seen it once, can't remember it. Is that its reputation?
I don't think it's just, like, I'm not sure if that's its reputation, but like in my mind, when I think about just Disney films, Tarzan is one of the you know, the lower, categories.
Yeah, it's definitely not at the top of my mind. Lachlan said, here we go, speaking of Disney films, the song Barking at the Moon from the movie Bolt is a song you can vibe to for hours. Just amazing. That was an amazing answer, Lachlan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That song resonates with me too. You know, Miley Cyrus, I think, maybe singing that. Probably. She's in that movie, so I guess she'd sing it. Yeah, cool. Henry said, oh no, here we go. German words. I would probably say my favourite original song for a film would be Komm Süßer Todd. That's definitely not right, but at least I didn't stumble. From the end of Evangelion. It provides a somber and haunting backdrop to the absolute insanity of the third impact scene, which I'll link if you're curious. And Henry linked that in the YouTube description if you're curious, as he said. I think, did I say Evangelion right again? I feel like I stuff it up every time.
Just roll with it.
I can't remember.
Okay. I feel like that pronunciation of that word's cinema effect law at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a top page. Top column.
Yeah. So what are our answers? I'll go first because it's generic as hell. Lion King, Circle of Life, Goosebumps every time. Come on. That's all there is to it.
Miss Misery by Elliott Smith in Good Will Hunting. There's 5 Elliott Smith songs in Good Will Hunting. One is instrumental, Between the Paws, but 4 of them are from his Either Or album, I think. Well, at least 3 of them are. And but Miss Misery was created for the movie, and he won an Oscar for it, I think, or at least he sang at the Oscars for Good Will Hunting. It plays at the end of the movie and was highly recognized at the time. It kind of brought him more into the spotlight, which was good. He didn't exactly like it that much, but it was it's a great song. I mean, Elliott Smith is my favorite singer songwriter in general, so love that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I've kind of got 2, I guess. I think the first one is "Young and Beautiful" from The Great Gatsby by Lana Del Rey. I think it's brilliant. It complements the film so well, but it also works as its own song. And I mean, especially like there's also an orchestral version, and that version as well is just so brilliantly assists the movie. But then my other answer is "Open Again" from the Suspiria soundtrack for 2018 by Tom York. actually insane that the original Suspiria soundtrack by Goblin is actually banging. But yeah, no. So for that film, Tom York composed. He composed the soundtrack, but he also did like 4 original songs, I think it is. And yeah, they're all bangers in their own way. So yeah, that's my pick.
Awesome. Well, that was Cinema Effect. Thanks for tuning in to Cinema Effect this week, guys. So we appreciate all of you for doing so. Fitzy, what are we watching next week?
We're watching Hunger.
No, we're watching The Hateful Eight. Sorry.
That's funny. Yeah, good. Directed by Steve McQueen.
Oh yeah.
He also did Shame and Widows and 12 Years a Slave, all that good stuff. And it's got Michael Fassbender. I'm excited.
God, you're spoiling next week's data dump.
Sus. But you gotta keep them interested. Michael Fassbender, he's a household name.
That's true. Where can people see it?
Stan. If you don't have Stan, why are you watching Cinema Effect? We endorse Stan here. Stan is our number one source of cinema, of kino, of movies, film, all the types of media. So you got to get Stan, or you're not a real supporter of the show. Technically,
Stan is the best thing since sliced bread. Put it on the box.
Definitely.
That would get as a sponsor.
That's all this is. We're trying so hard for Stan to sponsor us.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason that they don't would be that if I had to read an ad for Stan on this show, I wouldn't be able to read it. So
yeah, but
I think it's a pretty valid reason. That's true. I really should do that. Yeah. Well, cool beans. That was this week's show. Guys, cheers for joining me and talking shit about movies.
That's what I like most.
That's all right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're all here for.
Mm.
All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this week's edition of The Decline of All Three of Us. And we'll see you for next week's edition of The Very Same Thing. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.